When you think of Christmas, what pops into your head? I'm guessing it's probably snow, cozy fires, maybe opening presents on the morning of December 25th, right? Well, today we're going to flip that whole picture upside down. We're heading south to explore a Christmas that happens under the summer sun, where the main event is at midnight and where things can get, well, a little more intense than just arguing over board games. Welcome to the vibrant and really surprising Christmas of Peru.
And yeah, the difference hits you right away. Most of us are used to a winter holiday, but Peru's in the southern hemisphere, so their Christmas is right in the middle of summer. But it's not just about swapping snow for sunshine. The real game changer, the thing that rewires the whole holiday, is the timing. See, the biggest celebration isn't Christmas Day. It's all about the night before, Christmas Eve.
So let's dive into that main event. The entire holiday really pivots around this one magical evening. It's known as La Noche Buena, which translates to the good night. Just think about that for a second. While Christmas Day is much more relaxed, a time for visiting family, eating leftovers, all the big energy, the feasting, the gifts, it's all packed into the night of the 24th. This completely changes the entire rhythm of how you experience Christmas. And that evening has a very specific flow. It usually kicks off late, with a mass around 10 p.m. called the Mesa de Gallo, or the Rooster's Mass. Then, right at the stroke of midnight, families come together for a toast. And that single moment, that toast, is the starting gun. The feast begins, gifts are finally opened, and the sky all across the country just erupts with fireworks. And oh, that feast is something else. The centerpiece is usually a big roasted turkey or lechon, which is this amazing, succulent roast pork. You'll definitely see tamales, served up with a spicy ají chili sauce. But the two things that are absolutely non-negotiable are panetón, a sweet bread with candied fruits, and a cup of thick, spiced hot chocolate. And yes, hot chocolate in the summer. It's a cherished tradition you just don't skip. But, Peru is a big place, and the celebrations aren't the same everywhere. Once you head up into the Andes Mountains, the holiday takes on this whole other layer, a really unique character where Catholic faith is blended with ancient local customs. For example, in a lot of Andean homes, the Christmas tree isn't the main decoration. That honor goes to the retablo, the nativity scene. And we're not talking about a few little figurines. These are massive, intricate works of art that can take up entire tabletops, and the figures themselves are reimagined. Mary and Joseph are dressed in traditional Andean clothes, and you'll find native animals like llamas and alpacas around the manger instead of the usual sheep and oxen. The season also has this really beautiful tradition of community spirit called chocolatadas. This is where local businesses, churches, or just groups of neighbors get together and organize these big events to share that classic panetón and hot chocolate, plus toys and gifts with kids from low-income families. It's just this powerful, tangible expression of community. Okay, but not all Andean traditions are quite so gentle. In some of the more remote communities, Christmas Day is actually the day for Santurantikuy. The name literally means to hit each other. It's a ritual fighting festival where people settle their grudges from the past year with their fists. It sounds wild, I know, but the idea is to get everything out in the open and start the new year with a totally clean slate. Now, this mix of traditions might seem kind of jarring, but it's all part of a long, long history of cultural fusion in Peru. And one of the most fascinating places you can see this blending is actually in the music of a colonial Christmas.
So you have to wonder, right? How did that happen? How did the sacred, formal music of the European Baroque find a new voice, a new home in the mountains and valleys of South America?
Well, the story really starts back in the 17th century. Jesuit missionaries showed up, and they brought this complex European music with them as a tool for evangelization. But here's where it gets interesting. They didn't just force their style on people. Instead, something pretty remarkable happened. They actually encouraged a fusion, weaving indigenous languages, instruments, and even rhythms right into the very fabric of church music. Okay, take a look at this. This is a piece of sheet music for a Christmas lullaby from way back in 17th century Mexico. But the lyrics, they're not in Spanish or Latin. Xicochi canacentle means sleep, O my child, and it's written entirely in Nahuatl, the language of the Aztecs. How incredible is that?
And that brings us right back to Peru. This piece here, Hanakapachakusishinin, is a huge deal historically. It was the first piece of polyphonic music, which just means music with multiple, independent vocal parts all weaving together, ever printed in the Americas, all the way back in 1631. And its lyrics are written in Quechua, the language of the Inca Empire. This is literally the sound of two worlds meeting. So, From the midnight fireworks to the ritual fighting and these ancient Quechua carols, you really start to see that a Peruvian Christmas isn't some static thing from the past. It's a vibrant, living, breathing celebration.
What it all adds up to is this rich tapestry woven from all these different threads. You've got the Catholic faith that came with the Spanish, the deep central importance of family, and this powerful, enduring heritage of the Andes. And they all come together to create something that's so much more than a holiday. It's an entire season of connection. You know, there's a line from one of our sources that just nails this feeling. It says that to experience Christmas there, it becomes less about ticking sights and more about feeling part of a living celebration. It's about being swept up in something that's alive and happening right now.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Seeing how a Peruvian Christmas blends all these different influences, it's an invitation to look at our own traditions. The food we eat, the songs we sing, how do they reflect their own unique mix of history, faith, and culture that maybe we don't even notice anymore?